I'm all-pro cornerback Richard Sherman, and when I'm not chasing receivers, I'm trying to keep up with my kids. That's why Alberto beef jerky is my favorite snack. Alberto is delicious, lean beef, slow-cooked and seasoned to perfection, all natural and all delicious. Alberto beef jerky is protein-packed, so I can keep up with my busy. Raiden, stop grabbing your sister's hair.
Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all-natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
It's a Friday. So did I. Dave Rothenberg with you, in for Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN app. So here, this is a true story. No exaggeration, exactly how it went down. I do my 3-hour show in New York last night, get in the car, drive home. Get home at about 11. Have a quick bite to eat, see my wife, brush my teeth, take my allergy medicine, get into bed. She's lying there watching an old episode of, she watches Dancing with the Stars. She tapes them and watches them later, right? I say to her, because we have the whole season of Elementary, would you like to watch Elementary? She says, sure. We hit play on Elementary, and she gets a alert on her phone. She has like the ESPN app, which does do-do-do, do-do-do. And I don't usually ask, because usually I'm watching whatever it is that she's getting the alert about, but I'm not watching anything now, Elementary. I say, oh, what's going on? And she says, and this is exactly, like, I wish I were exaggerating. She says, Tim Hardaway Jr. signs 4-year, $71 million offer sheet. And I said, oh, my God, what team was dumb enough to do that? And then she looks at, she says, oh, it's the Knicks. And I just, almost like I was on a TV show, turned to a non-existent camera and said, yeah, that's about right. Now, I don't have an issue. A lot of people are upset. We had him. Now we're bringing him back. I don't have an issue with that. But let's for a moment think about the differing viewpoints that was going on in that front office between Phil Jackson and Steve Mills. Phil Jackson trades him for basically nothing. And Steve Mills turns around the second Phil Jackson is gone and offers him a deal which is outrageous. And you get a lot of people on Twitter, and you can tweet to me at Rothenberg ESPN. A lot of people on Twitter who have sent me messages saying, you're just not getting it. He's a combo guard, and you're right. You're right. I'm just not getting it. I don't get it. You're paying $18 million a year, and I can't imagine that Atlanta's going to match it. Never have I wanted a team to match a deal any more than this one right now. So you're right. I just don't get it. I just don't see that there's a market for $18 million a year for 4 years. See, it's not even the money that drives me that crazy. You know, the Knicks signed Joakim Noah, 4 years, $72 million, same deal, right? It's not the 1 year that drives you crazy. It's the extended time. You know, you look now at that Joakim Noah deal. And the reason that at least I'm so upset, it's not that it was the 1 year, even 2. This extends for 4. It's the same thing right here. It's the same thing right now. Do I think that Tim Hardaway is a horrible player? No. Does it upset me to have him on the team? No. Do I mind that they had him, they dealt him, and then they are bringing him back? No, it doesn't. What upsets me is that he is $72 million. The Knicks are invested $28 million a year at the point guard spot, at the two guard spot between Courtney Lee and Tim Hardaway. And haven't we been discussing, by the way, 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. 14.5 points a game, less than 3 rebounds, little more than 2 assists. That's $18 million a year. And again, if you tell me Hardaway's got a 2-year, $30 million deal to play with the Knicks, fine. But what we've been preaching about since the Knicks moved on from Phil Jackson was you can't get yourself into these kind of deals. That you can't do. You can't get yourself into a deal where you look at it and it prohibits you from signing other players and other pieces. You know what? On this date, on July 7th, 2017, I raise my hands and I surrender. I do. I can't be, and I know I will be, and it's very disappointing, emotionally invested in this team that continues to do the same thing time after time after time. You have to imagine that there's like 10% of Twitter that's very strong. Oh, this is a good deal. And if you look at the analytics and the PER, this is terrific, right? Stop it. Stop it. You have got to be kidding me. $18 million a year for if you are ranking the two guards in this league, and again, he's not awful. In my mind, what's Tim Hardaway Jr.? He's a good sixth man. I can put him in with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. I can play him for 9 minutes. In the second half, maybe I can play him for 12. On a good team, I think he'll get, 18 to 22 minutes of game time. That's what he is. He's a nice extra player. He's not one of the focal players on my team. And also, can we stop with this contract will pay him more than his father ever received? Yeah, because his father played in a different era. Let's not compare salary. If you look at LeBron makes 500 times more than any of these other guys ever made, or Will or Steph Curry, any of these guys, because it's a different era. And when we look 20 years in the future, we'll say the same thing about the next generation and the next generation, right? Sports is only going through the roof as far as money is concerned. But it doesn't bother me that they brought him back. There's a whole bunch of people that like Tim Hardaway. I'm not one of those people that is opposed to Tim Hardaway. But to give him $18 million a year for 4 years is insane. And it makes me wonder, where are the Knicks going? Is there, because if the ultimate goal is to move in a different direction as far as a GM is concerned, well, why would you sign anybody to a deal like this? That, to me, makes little to no sense. I'm very confused. I don't understand. I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. And you know what? Sometimes you just root for organizations that are not well run and do not win and can't make the proper decisions. And sometimes you root for organizations that it all works, like the Spurs, like the Patriots, like the Miami Heat, right? There's a lot of those teams that seemingly make the right moves, like the Pittsburgh Penguins. You could even put the Giants in that. You put the Yankees in that, but not the Knicks. And this move it further makes you scratch your head and shake your head and say, why? I don't have a problem with Hardaway coming back. A lot of people say, well, you traded him for Grant, then you traded Grant for Rose, now you're signing Hardaway to this big deal. That doesn't bother me. What upsets me is that now I'm locked in to Tim Hardaway Jr. for 4 years, $71 million, and if I'm going to deal him, if I want to trade him, there's a trade kicker in place, which will increase his salary to another club. I mean, you can't make this up. You can't. Of all the free agents that were available, of the Gordon Haywards and the Paul George deal, and everyone that was available, this is what they're doing. Tim Hardaway Jr. So, Knicks fans, it looks like the man making the decisions has changed, but the decisions continue to be unbelievably questionable. And where do you go from here? So you don't have a point guard. You've got multiple two guards. You've got a center who is basically stealing money. And this is what I mean. Bob Loria tweets me, Hardaway Jr. is starting to come into his own. He may be very, very good. Hardaway Jr. is fine. He's not a bad player. I don't look at him and say he can't contribute something. Is Tim Hardaway Jr. a starting player on a good basketball team? A good basketball team? No. Unless that team has LeBron James or Steph Curry or Kevin Durant. He can't be the second or third best starter on your club. $18 million to him. Was it $13 million to Lee? $18 million to Noah. You wonder why the Knicks are where they are? We just went through it, and it makes sense. 866, say ESPN. And people are tweeting me, you sound so calm as opposed to what you normally do when something like this happens. What am I supposed to do? How many times can I get burned by this club and lose my mind every single time?
I'm Jody Avirgan. Have you heard of Blue Apron? Well, now you have. Blue Apron's mission is to make incredible home cooking accessible to everyone. The country's #1 fresh ingredient and recipe service, fresh, high-quality ingredients make the difference, so it's important to know where your food comes from. Plus, it's affordable, easy, and full of surprises. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping. Go to blueapron.com/30 for 30.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Miserable weather today. It's supposed to get nicer as the day goes on and be a nice weekend, so that's nice. Although Knicks fans, I'm sure, heard this news. And how about hearing what I think most of us look at as kind of unfortunate news at 11:15 at night. So you hear this news, and then you put your head down on the pillow, and you have to think about it all night long. And again, I'm not going to go crazy on the Knicks anymore. They have beaten me into submission. They win. I can't take it. But you get the likes now of Billy Campbell tweeting me, and the Hawks started playing really much better basketball when they inserted him into the starting lineup. Guys, Tim Hardaway on this team is not the problem for me. I don't think he's an awful player. He's not an $18 million a year guy for an extended period of time. Noah, 4 years, 72. Hardaway, 4 years, 71. Those are not big-time signings. That's why the Knicks are the Knicks right now. JJ, Long Island, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Steve, first-time caller. Thank you so much.
Wait. It's JJ, it's Dave. You could say Dave, right?
Sorry, Dave. I apologize.
There you go. Okay.
I just want to say a couple of comments real quick on my Knicks and vent a little bit. I have no idea what manager's been doing since 2014 because I think, honestly, the only change that needed to be in the team right now was maybe just Chandler. Chandler, I don't understand how you could be 7-1 and not have a post game. I mean, that's the only thing. I love him for defense.
You're talking about Tyson Chandler?
Yes, sir.
What, I don't understand. What's the point with him?
Well, the thing was, the team was great. If I had to change anybody just for him, I would have even stuck with, Brook Lopez or Robin, one of the two. But other than
you never
that,
had Robin Lopez, and Brook Lopez. You never had Brook Lopez, and Robin Lopez. I thought was fine.
Oh yeah, it was a great addition. I would have changed that. But from that time to now, it's been a circus run, and everybody knows that. But I blame Dolan for the whole entire thing. And we've been through, I think, 5 coaches in the past 5 or 6 years. I don't know why they even gave him Mike Woodson. They should go back to him and give him, the reins already.
I mean, you're not going to go back and give it to a guy that you forced out of the job.
Wasn't that Phil Jackson though?
You know what? I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess it was, but I'm not going back to Mike. Mike Woodson is not a special coach. I'd like a real coach. I'd like a guy that I'm like, oh, that's a good hire. When was the last time the Knicks made a move, JJ? And thanks for the call. And you're like, oh, that's a good hire. Like, why? And the thing is, they have so much money. Money's a non-issue. So they have more money than almost anybody else can spend. And then you do this with it? And I got a tweet from a guy that says, are you missing the fact that he was a starting guard on the Atlanta Hawks that were the 5 seed? Are you missing the fact that the Atlanta Hawks got bounced in the first round? I'm not saying that Tim Hardaway can't be a piece on a decent team. He's not going to be a big-time piece on a really good team. Why do you think he bounces from second-tier team to second-tier team to second-tier team? You think San Antonio want to put Tim Hardaway Jr. in their starting lineup? Or Golden State? Or Boston? Or a team like that? Boston, by the way, they will clear the cap money. They'll deal Avery Bradley to Detroit. And I guess they get, I always forget the Morrises. They get one of the more. I'm going to look it up, I'll tell you. They get, I can't find it. One of the Morrises. I'll find the deal for you in return. I guess it's Markieff Morris, I believe. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. No, Tim Hardaway's not going to be a starting two-guard on a big-time team. On the Cavs, on the Warriors, on the Spurs. God, no. $18 million for a guy that on a good team is a bench player. I think they grossly overpaid. I have never wanted another club to match an offer as badly as I do with this one right here. Bill in Queens. Bill, you're on ESPN Radio.
Good afternoon, Dave. I think you kind of answered my question already, but I guess you just said about, like, there's plenty of money. It's not the issue. But why are teams in New York, like the Giants and the Rangers and the Yankees, like, they get better return on their investment? It just seems like the Knicks and the Jets, like, are just always falling short. Like, you spend all this money.
Because they're better run.
And what? Yeah, I mean, I guess
they're better organizations, right? I mean, you tell me, who's a better organization, the Giants or the Jets?
The Giants. I mean, it's not a. I mean, the Giants.
Right, it's not a question. Who's a better organization, the Knicks or the Yankees?
The Yankees, without question.
I mean, these are not even up for debate. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, these teams in New York, there's a bunch of them, and not only in New York. I mean, you go around all of sports that they don't run themselves well. And the Knicks, for an extended period of time, have been one of those clubs.
Like, do these owners ever look at other owners and say, man, we should be doing it like this? Like, I don't know. It's perplexing.
Doesn't seem like it. Right? Thanks for the call, Bill. It doesn't seem like it. I'm sure that if Adam Silver could get involved and send some sort of help along, he would. But it's not like the Knicks. See, you could look at it if they were cheap, and if we're going to pay a head coach $1 million a year for over 5 years, and whoever the best guy is available, that's who we're going to go after. But that's not what the issue is. They'll pay a head coach $7 million a year, $8 million a year, $10 million a year. They paid Phil Jackson $12 million a year to run this organization. It's not about the money. It's about bringing in the right piece and leaving that right piece alone. And that's what they haven't done. But they've taken Hall of Fame coaches, Hall of Fame guys, and they have not succeeded here. Larry Brown, you look at Larry Brown. Larry Brown took the Clippers, the Nets, Kansas, the Pistons, everybody, and made them good, but not the Knicks. I think he's even coaching high school basketball, and he's made them good, but not the Knicks. Why? Because the Knicks have a really hard time of putting a guy in place and leaving him alone. And the one time they did it was Phil Jackson. They put him in place, they left him alone, and he almost single-handedly set the franchise back to where they were 10 years ago. So it's very difficult. This is a very hard team to root for. And I know that you have a small percentage who look at this deal and say, this is a good deal. I get a 25-year-old guy who got better in the starting lineup, and I lock him in for 4 years. This will prohibit you. These 3 deals. Now, I imagine they're going to look to trade Courtney Lee. But is Courtney Lee any less of a player than Hardaway? Not really, is he? No. And now you're going to spend $5 more million on that piece than on this piece? So you've got Lee, you've got Hardaway, you've got Noah. Please, Atlanta, sign the deal. Sign it. Match it.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
We had a lot of tweets coming in. 90% of the Knicks fans are just in my corner. They don't understand what is happening. They're confused. And 10% are like, no, this is a really smart move. I got a good tweet now here from Fox Sports 99. He says, I just want to point out how unprecedented, this is a great tweet, and I want to give you credit, Fox Sports 99. Just want to point out how unprecedented it is for a team to sign such huge free agent deal while in search of a president of basketball operations and a GM. And you're right. They're giving this guy the deal, and our assumption is the Knicks are going to have a completely new regime in the coming weeks or months. Right? 4 years, $40 million. 4 years, $50 million. Fine. 4 years, $71 million. Trade kicker. It's a lot of money. Why would you get yourself into a deal like that? That's what boggles my mind. Now, I want to spend a moment on a fun story. This is not that it was fun for the people that had to endure this. Did you hear this about the Nationals game last night? So they have a rain delay for over 3 hours. You say, all right, so they had a rain delay for over 3 hours. You know what the only thing missing in that rain delay for over 3 hours was? The rain. It didn't rain. They were looking at the forecast, and it kept saying, rain, 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 nothing, nothing, nothing. So they made these people sit and wait. The game started well after 10 o'clock. And what did they do for all the people that stayed throughout this non-rain delay? This, to me, is priceless. They gave them free water. Free water. You just took 3 hours of my time and delayed a game for absolutely no reason. And as reparations, I get water? Like, you don't think they could have said, you stuck this out? You're going to stay here till God knows when to watch a game that there wasn't even an actual rain delay? How about we're going to give you a future ticket when there's available seats to a Nationals game? Water? Now they get a cup of water or a bottle of water? Oh, God. How generous the Nationals are, huh? You imagine sitting there and sitting there and sitting there at 7:30 and 8 o'clock and 8:30. Oh, I thought it was going to rain. Nope. 9 o'clock and 9:30. Finally, at 10 o'clock, like, you know what? Let's start this thing up. And for your troubles, you will get a bottle of water. Oh, how about that, huh? 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. I got a funny story to tell you in 6 minutes about my son yesterday. And it in some ways involves the Knicks, and I think you'll appreciate it. I think you will. Anthony in Brooklyn. Anthony, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Dave. How are you? I want to make 3 quick points on the Knicks. First of all, this is the worst contract of the offseason. The fourth-year player option and the 15% trade kicker makes 0 sense. $72 million on a player that can't shoot the ball but doesn't play defense, doesn't move the ball.
No, he's a one-dimensional player.
Second thing, all this means is Steve Mills is going to run the team no matter who the GM is.
No, but then why bring in a GM? Then why not make Mills the president and the general manager?
It makes 0 sense. 0 cents. This move makes 0 sense. Third thing I want to point out, like the previous caller, the NBA needs the New York Knicks to be good. This is a popularity league.
No, it doesn't. You know what? You're so wrong on that. Why? You don't. The NBA is doing great numbers now. Are the Knicks good?
The Knicks are not good. But
okay, so this whole thing of the NBA needs the Knicks to be good, that's an argument from 25 years ago.
There's a lot of people that live here. It would be more popular if the Knicks were better.
I think it would be more popular in New York if the Knicks were better. I don't think people in Miami or Oklahoma or Phoenix or L.A. or anywhere care whether the Knicks are good or not.
But it's been 20 years. Nothing has come out of this.
That's two different points you're making. For the Knicks to be good, do I think that the NBA would like it if the Knicks were good? Yeah. To have a relevant team in the number one market of the country, of course you'd want that. But do I think that the NBA needs that to have success? They've answered that question already over the last 20 years. Right?
Know, man,
they have. They've answered. Thanks for the call, Anthony. No. The answer is no. They don't need the Knicks to be good. They might want the Knicks to be good. We want the Knicks to be good. But this premise, these old premises from the 70s or the 80s where New York needs or the NBA needs the Knicks to be good to really, be a popular sport. Or the Knicks are a destination that players want to go. New York's a place that players want to go to. Those are like old wives' tales. at this point, guys. Might I offer you a free water, by the way, as you sit and wait for the Knicks to become relevant? That's what the Nationals would do. Maurice in Brooklyn. Maurice, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Dave, just a quick question, man. I know the Knicks want to give Hornacek a chance, but as far as like looking at the GM, how come they haven't proposed an offer to Mark Jackson as a GM, or if Hornacek doesn't work out as a coach? And that's just my question.
Well, I don't know that they haven't reached out to Mark Jackson. As far as we know, they're in the process of slowly, it seems, determining what they want to do next. And I don't know that Mark Jackson won't be involved, and I don't know that David Griffin won't be involved. And I don't think anybody really has the answer right now, because all the guys, and thanks to Club Maurice, all the guys that have insight, like the Ian Begleys of the world or Adrian Wojnarowski's of the world, they're not coming out telling us who the Knicks are looking into. We had heard that they were interested in Ujiri, and that got very quiet because he's under contract. Sam Presti, he's under contract. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sure if you're a David Griffin or someone of that ilk, that you're looking at this deal and you're potentially going to wind up here, and you're saying to yourself, really? This is what I'm going to have on my plate? I'm gonna go take over a team that's locked into a deal for Joakim Noah and Tim Hardaway for $36 million a year? Analyze that for a second, guys. They're paying $36 million over the next each year for the next 3 to have those two guys on this club. And then Hardaway goes for a 4th. It's a player option, which I would have to assume he would accept. How does that make any semblance of sense? Cortland in Queens. Cortland, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Dave, what's going on, man?
What's up, Cortland?
Yeah, man, I'm stressed out, man, because, being a Knicks fan is like trying to get back with an ex-girlfriend over and over and over again. You go back thinking it's going to change, and then it's the same. You gave this guy $71 million over 4 years, right? That's a deal you give an established player. Like you're not seeing stuff like this in the NBA happen other than teams like the Knicks. And why does it seem that like you have other franchises, the Golden Boys in the NBA, the Celtics, the Lakers, they make all of these deals, and it's like they have an unlimited like plethora of moves to make, and the Knicks were struggling to find a free agent. You can't trade anybody, can't get no pieces back. You got drama in the front office.
Because they're a poorly – Cortland, it comes down to this. They are a poorly run franchise. They do not have the pieces in place at the top, president, GM, and I'll even include head coach, to succeed. That's why. If you put a guy in place as president that was outstanding and you said – and James Dolan said, I'm washing my hands, I'm going to go play with my group, I'm not involved, it would change. He did it with Phil. The problem was Phil was, for all intents and purposes, incompetent at doing this job.
Yeah, he had no experience. And, it's like...
And he didn't want this job.
Yeah, he did it. He didn't want the job. You talk about the Nationals, the fans got free water after a rainout. At least they got compensations. What are the Knicks fans? What are we getting as Knicks fans, man?
You know what? Next time you're at the Garden, Cortland, find me and I'll buy you a water.
Yo, dude, I'll take you up on your offer.
All right, come find me. I'm right outside next to the call, right outside at 221. I do the pre and the post and halftime, and I'm there every home game. Find me. I will buy you a water to make it a little bit more worth your while. 866-SAY-ESPN. It's tough, guys. It's really, really tough. And sit back, because I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Spike in Jersey. Spike, you're on ESPN Radio.
Let me tell you something. I went to sleep not knowing about this deal, and I woke up and I self-induced vomit, I think. How do you make a deal like this?
But Spike, at least you didn't have to put your head on the pillow and dream about Tim Hardaway and his 33% three-point shooting.
Let me tell you, Tim Hardaway is not a good basketball player. He's not that good a shooter. The best thing he does is fill the lane like Kerry Kittles did on the break. Can't guard anybody. Stephen Hawking has better lateral movement.
Oh, my goodness, Spike. You got all the one-liners today, huh?
You're going away, so I'm going to have my Rothenberg withdrawal. It's just, as you say, one of your descriptive words as a wordsmith. It's a pathetic deal. Pathetic. How do you make a deal like this?
I don't know.
You can't make a worse deal like this. I want to know who made this deal.
Well, it's
Maybe
got to
the
be
guy
Mills,
that,
no?
gives out the sneakers at the end of the bench.
It's got to be Mills.
It
Who
can't
else is?
be Mills.
It has to be Mills.
It can't be, Dave, because of that Dolan. Well, maybe Dolan has to sign off on the deal.
Yeah, but Dolan's signing off on the deal. It's not like Dolan is presenting this to Mills and saying, you've got to bring Tim Hardaway Jr. back into the limelight here in New York City.
We had him once, and he wasn't good. The kid, he came out of Michigan with...
Why are you yelling at me for something I agree with, Spike?
I'm not yelling at you. It's agitating. You came on agitated today.
I'm frustrated.
Over this deal, so
I was very calm, but annoyed at this.
You can't. You
You're
really
right.
can't make a stupid deal like this up. I'm praying that they match the offer.
Spike, there is no way that they're going to match this deal. None. They're probably. Thanks for the call, buddy. They're probably laughing. Like they're probably drinking sake and drinking free water and laughing at this deal down in Atlanta. They're what? 4 years, $71 million with a trade kick. What? Oh, goodness. Enjoy Tim Hardaway. Enjoy 15 points a game and a decent shooter and little else. And again, he's not bad. He's not a bad player. He's a first guy off the bench, come in and score for you player. And that's it.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
So it is a funny story. So I'm on the air yesterday doing this show. And I should probably bring up the text, but I don't have time to do that because I'm now in the midst of the story. Had I planned properly, I would have. And I get a text to the extent from my wife of our youngest son, 6 years old. Alex is in trouble. Apparently, he's hitting kids at camp. And camp calls my wife and tells her this story. And she, of course, texted me, and my response is, I'm going to kill him. When I see him later, I'm going to kill him because he's hitting kids, and he's sending them home with bruises and scratches, and I guess the kids are upset, and the camp is upset, and the parents are upset, right? So he gets off the bus at 4:20 yesterday, and I'm out there waiting for him, and he's so cute, and I bring him inside, I go, listen to me. What is going on? Why? And he starts the whole, well, they're instigating me. I said, Alex, it's not one kid. It's multiple kids. What's happening? Well, it happened when we were playing basketball. I said, all right, happened when you're playing basketball. What are you doing? He said, well, the ball was inbounded, and I ran into a kid and pushed him down and stood over him. I said, Alex, what kind of an animal are you? You can't do stuff like that. He looks at me, and I almost became hysterical in laughter. He says, I'm knocking kids down. I'm being physical with them. And he says, maybe they shouldn't be playing sports if they can't handle it. I said, Alex, basketball, you can't run through kids and knock them down. And he looks at me and he says, the Knicks used to do it, Daddy. And I thought, you know what? The Knicks did used to do it, but that was a long time ago. But how funny is that? This kid he's trying to use like my own weapons against me. Well, the Knicks used to play like that, Daddy, so why can't I play like that? So he did get in trouble, but not as much with that cute response. Knicks used to play like that, Daddy. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Yeah, we frown upon pummeling other children in our household. Mike, Staten Island. Mike, you're on ESPN Radio.
That's so funny. Kids are so great. Yeah, people got to get a grip with this whole thing with Tim Hardaway too. And he's making $17 million in a year. The salaries went up. The salary cap went up. This is just a stage of and Hornacek likes guards. So now the Knicks have three good guards.
Who are the three good guards?
Damian Dotson, the second rounder.
Oh, come on. Come on. Already you have Damian Dotson as a good guard.
Damian Dotson, yes. Damian Dotson is going to be great.
And this call defines everything that is wrong with Knicks fans right now.
and they have Hardaway, and they have Courtney Lee. So
Right.
they've got a good core of guards.
Right.
And Hornacek, you're going to see three guards in the lineup.
Terrific. I've never been more excited than I am right now, Mike. Mike, I got to go. Mike, I got to go. And that defines our issue here. That you can have a human being calling me and saying, Dave, they got three good guards. Damian Dotson, who has never even played in a preseason game, nonetheless a regular season game. And I'm not saying he won't be good, but you can't sell me on him now. Courtney Lee, who's the definition of an average guard, and Tim Hardaway Jr., who's the definition of an average guard. Three good guards. You know who has three good guards? The Warriors have three good guards. The Spurs have multiple good guards. Lots of teams have the Knicks are not one of them. If you're trying to sell me on Dotson, Hardaway, and Lee, maybe you're the one with the issue. Oh, God. Joel in Jersey. Joel, you're on ESPN Radio.
Dave, love your show. Call you all the time. Dave, here's the kicker. Let's forget about the Knicks. Let's forget about Atlanta. This guy's getting $71 million no matter what. Tell me there's nothing wrong with the NBA.
Well, I don't think. Look, here's the thing. If someone is willing to pay it, I don't fault the player.
Dave,
there's a club that is now what the Knicks are doing, and I get this, is they're saying we'd like him, and we will overpay so that Atlanta cannot match this offer. But $17+ million a year for Tim Hardaway Jr.
Let's bet lunch. Atlanta does not match this offer. He's not worth it. He's not worth it.
Of course he's not worth it.
I don't know why the Knicks do this stuff. I don't know why they extend themselves this way. And then the caller before, this second-round draft pick is better than a second-round draft pick. I know he hasn't done anything, but he's better than that.
Look, fine. So let me watch him play in a game. Not an Orlando summer game. In a real game before I'm going to sit here and anoint him he's a big-time player, please?
He's the same player as Hardaway. He's never going to get no time if we get Hardaway. He'll be three deep on the bench.
I don't even know. Joel, I didn't even know. I mean, you know what? I didn't have words to express what they're doing. And thanks for the call, man. Hardaway, Lee, Dotson. I mean, when does it stop? And Dotson, maybe he's good, but you guys are anointing him like he's the next big-time player. He's a second-round pick, and you wait and see.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, Sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
It's me, the little voice in your stomach. And as you can tell by my musical selection, I have impeccable taste. So I won't settle for anything but the most tasty snack. All natural Alberto beef jerky. It's lean beef, slow cooked, and seasoned to perfection. All natural and all delicious. So listen to the little voice in your stomach. Indulge my great taste and feed me some all natural Alberto beef jerky.
Alberto beef jerky. You get out what you put in.
Refers to Alberto's all-natural line of beef jerkies. Minimally processed, no artificial ingredients.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
All right, Dave Rothenberg in for Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN app. The weekend, guys, is just about here. So congratulations. We made it to another one. This is a weird week, right? Because Wednesday felt like Monday, and that was kind of a short week, and away we go. We are just about to the weekend. So this is interesting. 2 months from today is the start of the NFL season. September 7th. Chiefs visiting the Patriots in Foxborough, and the commissioner will be there. He's finally going back to New England. So here's the question, and I posed it last night on the air. I think it's interesting. If you could go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow, and it would be September 7th, would you do it? You get into bed tonight. It's July 7th. You put your head on the pillow. You wake up. It's September 7th. Would you sign for that right now? Now, you're going to miss summer. if there's like a friend's wedding or something, you're going to miss it. But football starts today when you wake up. Would you do that? I think I would. I asked a couple guys last night. One said, absolutely. One said, I love summer too much. See, I'm not a big summer guy, but here's the thing. You're giving up 2 months of your life. You're giving up 2 months of your life to start the NFL really quickly. Would you do that? I think I would. I don't think I have anything huge coming up. I have a vacation to Aruba, which is, exciting. But if I could put my head down and wake up tomorrow and it's September 7th and the NFL is here, I believe that I would do that. Would you do that? At Rothenberg ESPN. 866-SAY-ESPN, 866-729-3776. Even the fact that there are people that are sitting there like contemplating this shows you how the NFL is king. Because I don't think you do it for any other sport. Knicks fans would probably put their head on the pillow and wake up in June, right? Just to not have to deal with this current NFL season. Tim Hardaway, $18 million a year. Yep. They're giggling down in Atlanta, don't you think? Seamus wants to talk about these New York Knicks. You're on ESPN Radio, Seamus.
Jesus Christ, buddy. You had me laughing hardcore right there. But I'm too much of a
what
Yankees fan to give up my whole summer, so I'd have to say no with that. Dave, wonderful to hear you, man. I love whenever you take over this show.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I'm down in D.C. I'm usually a Jersey native, but I joined in 2001, haven't given it up since, and I listen to you on the ESPN app almost every day. So I love you. But
thanks.
Hardaway, garbage move. And you know what I haven't heard you give any crap to today? James Dolan. You keep saying that everything is an organizational move and they don't know how to run it. James Dolan does not know how to run the Knicks. He just doesn't. God bless it. I can't wait until that man sells the team.
It's not, Seamus, it's not going to happen. He's not going anywhere. Take that thought and throw it out of your head because it's not happening.
Not even for 10, 15 years from now?
First of all, that's a long time. Second of all, I wouldn't bank on that.
Oh God, I wish James Dolan would disappear out of the universe, and I think after that point, the Knicks will be good. But at this point, I'm just how it's so hard to be a Knicks fan. I mean, I've loved the Knicks, and I always have. I'm 35 years old right now, and I've loved them since day one. My father taught me, Hewing, all that. But they have just sucked ever since Dolan bought them. And I don't see them getting good anytime soon. Do you?
No. I mean, how could I? Who do they have? They have Porzingis and what else? Thanks for the call, Seamus. I got to run. Thanks. Right? They have who? They have who? Who do they have that you look at and you're excited by? They have Porzingis. They can't figure out what to do with Carmelo Anthony. They have all these tremendously mediocre guys now. Tim Hardaway. Look, here's the thing. Seamus, I got to run, man. I appreciate the phone call. Here's the thing, okay? Even if you're a Tim Hardaway fan, even if you like Tim Hardaway, is he anything more than an average player in this league? I mean, even if you're sitting there we're going to have Hardaway for 4 years, and is he anything more than an average two-guard in this league? No, he's not. I mean, you run through the two-guard. I think Antetokounmpo is a two-guard, isn't he? DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson, C.J. McCollum, Bradley Beal. These are guys that, not even close. Wade. I'd rather have Wade for 2 years. Batum. He was a free agent last year. Danny Green. Eric Gordon. Maybe they'll wind up with Eric Gordon. Zach LaVine. Patrick Beverly. J.J. Redick. You say, well, Redick, 1 year, $23 million. That's a big deal. 1 year. 1 year. So if it blows up in their face, they're done. They don't have to worry about him. And Redick is better, considerably better. Avery Bradley. Evan Fournier. Rodney Hood. I mean, there's a big list of guys. Drew Holiday. Tony Allen. All these guys are better than Tim Hardaway. Wesley Matthews. Devin Booker. They're all better. They're all better. Malcolm Brogdon. $18 million a year? I would argue that Courtney Lee is on the same plane as our good friend Tim Hardaway Jr. Mark in the Bronx. You're on ESPN Radio, Mark.
Hey, Dave. Love you. Love the show. I'm happy you took over for Steve while he's away.
Well, I didn't take over. He's on vacation. He'll be back soon.
Well, yeah, well, hopefully not too soon. I just want to know why you just wasted an hour talking about the Jets of the NBA. It's football season, Dave. We need to be talking about football.
You want to drive it over to football? Go ahead.
Right away. I want to know why no one is discussing on any of the channels or any of the stations about all the suspensions the Cowboys have occurred in the last 2 years, and especially the last one, with Damian Williams being out for a weapons charge.
Yeah, I guess he was at a Major League Soccer game, and he hit a woman with his car, and then they took out a weapon. So yeah, no, it's not good.
No, it's the 8th suspension in 2 years. When is the Cowboys going to start betting their players? Or
they don't care. Look, Jerry Jones always has played fast and loose, and he wants guys that are good players, and a lot of the off-the-field issues don't matter that much to Jerry Jones. He's made that perfectly clear for 20-plus years.
Yes, but he needs to realize that it carries over to them not playing. This is, again,
all right, so if they don't have this kid, how big of a loss do you think it is?
Well, with our secondary, who's all...
You're a Cowboys fan?
Unfortunately, Dave, yes, I've been a Cowboys fan since I was born.
You hid that very well for the first few moments of this conversation, didn't you?
Well, I wanted you to like me for a second.
I like you. You seem very nice, and you complimented me. I like you. You just have questionable taste in your football teams. No one's perfect.
Yeah, no one can be. But, no, it's ridiculous. If we have any shot of trying to beat the Giants this year at all, we need a secondary. We need a line.
Well, they drafted secondary. They're excited about the kids that they brought in via the draft, and I think the Cowboys are a good football team, Mark.
Yeah,
the one I'd be concerned about is Elliott, because apparently that investigation is ongoing right now in NFL circles.
I'm concerned because I have a first-round draft pick, and it's either Bell or him, and my love for the Cowboys is too strong.
No, if I were you, I would take Bell, because then you don't have the pressure of rooting for your guy, and then if he fails you on multiple levels.
Well, in that case, I'll just throw my phone against the wall, and that'll be it.
I don't blame you. Thanks for the call.
Well,
866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. You know, it's funny. Most Cowboys fans love what their team looks like right now. Love it, because their offense is as good as any offense in the NFL. Their offensive line is great. Their running back is great. Their quarterback, I think he's a product of the system, but being a product of the system is very good. They've got a Hall of Fame tight end. They've got excellent receiver. They're a very, very good football team. And their defense is okay. It's not great. It's not awful. It's passable. Kenny wants to talk a little NFL. Go ahead, Ken.
This is Ken out in Albuquerque, man. I just wanted to switch the subject a little bit, keep going with football.
I
wanted to know, I am a Cowboys fan, so I do feel that we got a good offense, and yeah, Dak Prescott is a product of the system. But at the same time, what rookie that was just drafted in the recent draft do you think his career is going to tank just because of the team he's on? And what rookie, the opposite way, do you think is going to go? His career is going to start off great just because of the team he was.
No, I think that Dak Prescott is good. I'm not saying. I'm just saying that I think that he has gone into the perfect situation. If he went to the Rams, do I think he would have had the same success he had with the Cowboys? Absolutely not.
You're right.
Right. For me to say that Dak Prescott is a good quarterback with great composure, a smart QB who also benefits from that system, I don't think that's an awful thing to say about him.
Absolutely not. He gets the job done, and that's what we're looking for, just consistency at the position. Because, although Romo was good, he did his thing. He carried us for a while. At the same time, he put us in a lot of bad positions.
But I'll tell you this, Kenny. Romo, much better quarterback than Dak Prescott. At least now. At the last stage of what we saw Romo, to Dak Prescott now, thanks to the call, Ken, much better quarterback is Romo than is Prescott.
Are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 job sites with just one click. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you, it finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, listeners to this podcast can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/30 for 30.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
So the news came out late last night. ESPN's Ian Begley and the newly acquired Adrian Wojnarowski. Knicks, $71 million. I can't even say it with a straight face. $71 million 4-year deal, offer sheet with Tim Hardaway Jr. You know what percentage of the salary cap that is? 18% of the salary cap will go to Tim Hardaway Jr., who averaged, mind you, a career high of 14.5 points last year. And, guys, the Knicks have a shooting guard. They have Courtney Lee. Now, I don't think Courtney Lee is the be-all, end-all, but he's serviceable. Kind of the same as Tim Hardaway, isn't he? You know, if you told me Tim Hardaway is a plus defensive player, and he's a terrific shooter, and he makes guys better, and he's only 25. See, I know a lot of people have it. You had him, you moved on from him, now you bring him back. That looks bad. I don't care about that. You know what? Maybe he's a much better player now than he once was. Maybe he's mature. That doesn't drive me crazy. What drives me crazy is I don't think he's that good. The best that Tim Hardaway has to offer is what? Is a mediocre two-guard? Like, is this build? This guy is now going to be on the team if the Hawks don't sign him for 4 years. Is that what you want? You want to move forward in 2020, 2021 with Tim Hardaway Jr. as your two-guard? No, guys. It's a bad signing. It's a bad move. And what boggles my mind, and by the way, 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. What boggles my mind is my understanding is the Knicks don't even have their president and or GM in place right now. So now you're going to inherit that job? All right, welcome aboard. What do we have to work with? Well, you've got Tim Hardaway Jr., 4 years, $71 million. You like that? No, I don't like that. Who would like that? Who likes this deal? James in Jersey. James, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hello?
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 Hey, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it.
All right. This is a trade that is equivalent to a buyout, and everybody wins. Carmelo Anthony, Joe.
But I'm confused. How does Melo win here?
Because listen, follow me now.
Okay, I'm gonna go
Carmelo Anthony, Joakim Noah, and Courtney Lee's contract to the Brooklyn Nets for Trevor Booker's expiring contract.
Stop it. Stop. I can't even listen to more. Why would the Nets take on Joakim Noah? Carmelo Anthony would never go to Brooklyn. This deal makes no sense, James.
He said he wants to stay in New York.
He's not. He wants to stay in New York with the Knicks. He doesn't want to go to the Nets.
If he truly wants to be in New York, it's a win.
I don't think. Look, he has said he'd go to Cleveland. He'd go to Houston. You think he's going to go to Brooklyn?
If there's an opportunity for him to stay in New York, I think he will take.
No.
And it's equipped. Then we would start off fresh. A GM would love to come.
James, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I want to hear your deal in its entirety. The floor is yours. Let me hear this deal.
Okay. Trevor Booker, and they have two other players that have expiring contracts. You take Darren Williams' contract that is still left on the books. When you send all of those contracts, it would put the Brooklyn Nets right at the cap with mid-level exceptions to spend on one more player.
Can I ask you a question? Why would Brooklyn do this deal?
Because they have been throwing money at players that aren't worth it right now.
and we have some guys that is equivalent
that also aren't worth it.
Money. Yeah. So here,
James, no, on it like you. And thanks for the phone call. I think you should probably take a nap. I think you maybe you've been up for too long because that trade makes no sense for anybody. It's not going to happen for the Knicks, and it's not going to happen for the Nets, and it doesn't make sense. And let's just take it and move on and pretend. Let's pretend we never had that conversation. Stefan wants to talk about Tim Hardaway. What's up, Stefan?
Hey, Dave. How you doing, man?
Good. What's up, buddy?
All right. First off, if you're going to give that last caller that much time, I respectfully ask for that much time as well.
Go ahead.
That was a ridiculous point. But, Dave, you know when you're just having a bad day at work and then you read something about the Knicks? And the Knicks
That's like every day. That's my work existence.
I mean, Dave, let's actually be real for a second. So this happened. We're probably going to have Hardaway. The Hawks aren't going to match it.
Nope.
First and foremost, I can't wait for some kind of interview with Steve Mills where someone asks him, why did you make this trade? Why did you sign a shooting guard and nothing else with all of our cap space money? But, Dave, is it possible that, I mean, what do you think the likelihood, do you think the Knicks have a plan that we don't know about? I mean, do you think they signed him because they might think that they can get another guard by the end of the year?
No.
Or are they
I think that they might have some kind of a plan in place. Do I trust the plan that they may potentially have in place? No. How could I? Stefan, when was the last time you felt the Knicks were in competent hands?
I mean, I'm an overly optimistic Knicks fan, so that question probably doesn't apply to me. But, Dave, what did Darren Collison just sign for with the Pacers? It couldn't have been more than Hardaway, right? Would you agree?
I think it was about half that much money.
I really didn't expect this move. I thought, I was like, I knew they didn't do anything. I did not see this coming. I am so upset about this signing.
But are you surprised?
It's a horrible signing.
Are you surprised by this?
I actually am surprised because all we hear about on ESPN is, Steve Mills doesn't want to, get carried away and make these ridiculous contracts. He doesn't want to overpay for players. He wants to go young. And then he overpays for a player. Like, that's his first move as our GM. I thought we were going to get a point guard. That's what I thought. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get one still?
I have no idea. Really, if I'm going to say, and Stefan, I think I've given you the time, and thanks for the call. I can't project or predict what they're going to do. I don't know. 2 years, $20 million. Darren Collison signed for half the money, or 60% of the money that Tim Hardaway will get if that deal is not picked up by Atlanta. You feel good about that? 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. You're asking me to get into the minds of an organization that rarely, if ever, makes a decision that we agree with. I can't do that. That's like asking me to get into the head of a crazy person and analyze what they're thinking. I can't do that.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
You know what I feel badly for? And I'm being genuine. I'm not even being a jerk here. I feel badly for the Mets, Jets, Knicks fans out there. Because you're involved in the Mets season, which is a disaster. Then you're going to flip the page to September and the Jets season, which you have to figure will be a disaster. And then when that finishes, you can turn your attention to the Knicks, and I think the realization there is will also be a disaster. So I have the Mets, but then I go to the Giants before heading to the Knicks. But if you're a Mets, Jets, Knicks fan, I send you a verbal hug right now. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. We dedicate this next call to the great Walter Mayo. G in Queens. G, you're on ESPN Radio.
Hey, Dave. How you doing?
Good. What's up, G?
I just wanted to say about the Hardaway trade, I think it's more of a gamble they're taking. He's a decent player, and I think they think he's going to be a much better player in the long run. The salary's a little high,
hang on.
But with the money these deadbeats are getting nowadays, it's to be expected.
Hello. G, what do you think the upside for Tim Hardaway Jr. is? How good do you think he can eventually be?
I think he could be a really good player. I mean, he's getting better on the defense, and Lord knows that's what we need. He's already scoring 14. I'm sure in the next few years, with some good help and training, he could probably get up to 20 points a game if he gives us some defense and decent steals and assists. You can't ask for much more than that. I got a feeling.
So right now, I get a subpar defender. I get a decent scorer. I get a guy that's playing 30-plus minutes a game that's averaging less than 3 rebounds and just a shade over 2 assists a game. For this to make sense to me, he has to get considerably better over the next couple of years.
Oh, no, I definitely agree with that. But with the Knicks, I feel it's a rebuilding stage, so they're just taking a gamble. Nobody else wants to come here. That's the problem.
But so then why spend the money? Why not sit on the money? And when you clean this thing up a little bit, hey, look, now you've got money that you can spend on a free agent. Why not look at it, and thanks for the call, G, why not look at it and say, we're going to sit tight, we're going to be bad, we're not going to throw money away just to throw it away, and when we become a team that people are not laughing at and are somewhat relevant, hey, you know what? We're going to have money to spend on a free agent that's worth $18 or $20 or $22 million a year. Why not take that strategy? DJ Staten Island. DJ, you're on ESPN Radio, buddy.
I understand what you're saying, David. Listen, I always agree with you on a lot of things, but I'm just trying to make some sense out of a nonsense, a really bad move. But I'm looking at it as this. The kid's only 25. Any realistic Knicks fan knows that from the list of shooting guards that you provided a couple minutes ago, that's not realistic goals. You're not going to get yourself a C.J. McCollum, a DeMar DeRozan, at least not at this point for the Knicks organization.
No, I agree, but so that means that you reach at something that's not worth it?
Well, no, I'm not saying reach like how they reached. I would have offered him maybe 4 years, $55 million if you want to just get him away from Atlanta. You don't have to give him 70.
But why are you so desperate? Why are you so desperate for Tim Hardaway? That's what I don't understand.
It's not the desperation exactly for him, but you have to use the money every year anyway for free agency. And also, you got to be realistic. You're not going to get all the superstars in free agency for next summer. You're not going to get not one of those guys. Just from a 1 year turnaround, that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. So I mean, they're being exactly what they said. Young guards, a lot of youth movement. I mean, by the time his contract's over at 29, I know. I can't defend his contract, Dave. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just giving an explanation as why they did it.
So you are looking this with glass half full, and that's the way you're staring at this deal, right?
I'm not defending how much he's getting paid, but I'm defending why they signed Timmy. He's gotten better in Atlanta.
I agree. He's look. If this was a 4-year, $40 million deal, I don't think anybody would have an issue. I think that it's fair market value. But they are, and on top of that, there's a trade kicker. So there's a chance they're going to wind up paying this guy $20 million a year.
Yeah, and the percentage, if you've been reading, the percentage goes up. It's supposed to come down before the beginning of the season, but he's not going to get traded or shipped out of New York after just signing, so it goes back up to 15%. So listen, Dave, I can't defend that. I'm just trying to put some sense into a nonsense organization. That's all I'm trying to do, Dave. Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah, you got it. So that defines everything, doesn't it? I'm trying to make sense of something that makes no sense. I mean, you can reach and you can grasp, and I get like every 10 tweets I get, 9 are like, oh, my God, Dave, what's happening here? And one is, no, you're missing the point. This, in fact, is a brilliant signing. Okay. Look, honestly, I would love nothing more than for this deal to go through and to get to 2020 and be like, boy, we only pay Tim Hardaway $17 million. What a steal that the Knicks have there. I can't envision that is ever going to be the case. He's average. That's what he is. He's fine. You don't build teams around Tim Hardaway Jr. He's fine. If he has to play for 12 minutes, that's fine. If he has to start in a game for a good team, that's fine. You don't build around that. You don't build around that. Mackenzie is on ESPN Radio. What's up, Mackenzie?
Hey, man, how's it going? I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure.
A few things. Nobody answered your question from the last segment. Who likes the Tim Hardaway deal? There are two people. That would be Tim Hardaway and his agent, because they're about to get paid.
Who was the second one you threw out there?
His agent.
Yeah, you're right.
Because they're getting paid. 2 years ago, the Atlanta Hawks won 60 games. They were the number one seed, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Uh-huh.
Then you look at the players on that team. Al Horford, gone. DeMar Carroll, gone. You've got Paul Millsap, who just signed with the Nuggets. He's gone. Kyle Korver, all of them, they're gone. That's the reason why Tim Hardaway got so much better, is because he had to play.
Wasn't Jeff Teague on that team as well?
Jeff Teague was on that team.
Yeah.
He's gone. So you've got all of these players from this team, which, by the way, they all signed for a collective $365 million. So they're all gone. So Atlanta, everything that I'm reading is saying they're not going to match this deal. Good luck with New York. But you've also got that argument with that he had to play. I mean, he averaged, 17.5 points a game. He had a career high in minutes this year.
But they needed him to be that guy. And it's not like, look, I think he's fine, Mackenzie. This is not a personal vendetta, thanks to the call, against Tim Hardaway Jr. It's just that if you're sitting there thinking, boy, we are changing the fortunes of this organization, and look how we're starting, and what a smart move, you're missing it. You're missing it. Hardaway's he's adequate. He's average. He's an above average scorer, and that's it. He's a subpar defender. He doesn't rebound. He doesn't pass. So I'm going to pay that $17 million a year for that? No. But yes, of course Atlanta's not going to match it. These deals are always matched. All right, Alan Crabb, matched. Evan Turner, matched. Who else? There was a couple of the Nets tried to sign. Matched all over the place. Otto Porter, that's going to be matched. This one, no, you can have him. We don't want to be involved in that. Ricardo in New Jersey. Ricardo, you're on ESPN Radio.
How are you today, sir?
What's up, Ricardo?
Oh, it's Pork Bun, Ricardo. I don't know if you still remember me.
So, it's funny that you would mention this, because my producer took your call, put you on hold, and said, Dave, just to let you know, Pork Bun Ricardo is on line 5. And I said, Pork Bun Ricardo? He said, the way Pork Buns made it sound is that, like, you guys grew up together, or he was a fraternity brother of yours. And I said, Pork Bun Ricardo? So I vaguely remember, is this like when we were talking about food with Santiago and you called in telling me that pork buns were delicious?
Yes, it was Valentine's Day, actually. I was delivering pork buns to my wife, and then we tried to hook up Santiago with my sister-in-law.
Oh, that's right. And that never materialized. You said your sister-in-law was gorgeous, didn't you?
Yeah, she's still available.
You know what? It's Santiago. He's very slow on the uptake.
It's all right. Santiago and the Knicks have a lot in common. They don't know.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
They're not making the right decisions. Man, what is going on? Tim Hardaway, I saw that and I got nauseated. Like, if I had bad pork buns, it was just like, whatever happened to the future, whatever happened to building. Like, I'm okay now with getting rid of Melo. It was hard for me to digest that, because I really do like having Melo. But fine, let's get rid of him. Let's start all over. Build around Porzingis. Build around the French guy. I got it. But what is going on here? Like, really, all this money to Tim Hardaway Jr.? It's crazy.
I agree, Ricardo. Or pork buns, if you would prefer.
No, it would be great if you call me pork bun.
I will. From now on, I will. Now, do I go PB or do I go with the full pork buns?
Straight up pork bun. Straight up pork bun. Yeah,
right,
that way
buns.
You still remember me.
You got it. Pork buns, I got to run.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But what happens now with Courtney Lee? What happens with everything else? I mean, are they going to trade Courtney Lee? Because isn't Courtney Lee?
Yeah, I would think so. Pork buns. When I say I got to go, it means I got to go, though.
Sorry, man. Have a good one. What's up?
All right, pork buns. Thank you very much. 866-ESPN, 866-729-3776. How about this tweet that I get? This isn't such a horrible contract, Dave. He's a young player that can easily be moved in 2 years. Hashtag relax. Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be teams clamoring for Tim Hardaway Jr. and his $17+ million in 2 years.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
You got the news of Tim Hardaway Jr., and I know you're upset about that, but at least it's the weekend. That's good news, right? So you don't have to endure this for a full week and wake up early and go to work and deal with the kids. At least it's towards the end of the week. Is that positive? Do you guys have any confidence in the Knicks regime? Like in Mills or hiring the right guy or like that to me is the issue. It's not that they're bad. That's frustrating, but that's not even the issue. The issue to me is I don't know that they know how to get good. Like the Jets, at least I think they're doing the right thing. The Knicks, I have no idea what they're doing. It'd be like the Jets going out, and signing like a mediocre, high-priced free agent now with everything that they're doing. That would go exactly against the entire kind of policy. That's what the Knicks just did. $17 million. And I'm getting a ton of tweets. Dave, $17 million in this day and age in the NBA, that's not that much money. Guys, 4 years, $71 million. What did we say before? The amount of money here in this deal for him, right, with the percentage is 18% of their cap. He's making a fifth of their salary cap. That's not a lot of money. A lot of money to me. I'm paying almost 20% of my cap to a guy that's mediocre. I'd rather pay twice that to a guy that's great. Like, look, Steph Curry deal? Yeah, I get it, Steph Curry. He deserves every penny that he gets. This? No. Sam in Uniondale. Sam, you're on ESPN Radio.
What's up, Dave?
Hey, Sammy, how you doing, buddy?
Dave, good. You know what, Dave? I'm over the shock. All right, last night I was totally shocked at the number 71, and I was like, wow, that's a lot for Tim Hardaway Jr., but you know what? I started looking at it with the glass half full, and I think, here's the thing, he's 25 years old,
Yep.
And let's not forget, right before Phil traded him, he was averaging 18 points a game for this Knicks team. And the fact that he can actually, something that I'm not going to take lightly is, he can handle New York. Not a lot of players can, and he's improved since last he was here. So,
Sam, if all those things are true, he's a better player than last we saw of him. New York is obviously not too big for him. He's a decent shooter. Is he a good player?
I think he's a solid player. He's not a great player, but
no one's asking is he great. See, I think you and I disagree. I don't think he's a good player. You think he's a good player.
I think he's solid.
Is he
Not
better
worth
than average?
71, though, Dave.
Is he better than average?
Better than average offensively, but average overall. So
overall, when you look at the whole ball of wax with Tim Hardaway Jr., is he better than average?
He's not better than average, and he's not worth that money.
And there you go. And look, Sam, Tim Hardaway Jr., thanks for the call, coming to the Knicks does not make me have a crazy reaction. Tim Hardaway Jr., who is average, coming to the Knicks at almost 20% of their yearly salary cap, makes me have that reaction. Does that make any semblance of sense to you guys? Scott in Manhattan. Scott, you're on ESPN.
What's up, Dave? I think right now you're playing with the numbers in the sense you had 20% of the cap and all of that. Listen, but is he better than average? Yeah, he's average. But the real right now is a rebuild. And right now you got to understand, listen, there's going to be some hits that we're going to take. But the bottom line is, listen, he's a good player. And like the guy just said before.
You just said he's average. So is he average or is he
good? When he left
good?
here, he was averaging, he's 25 years old, and he's averaging 18 points. I think that.
Wait. He's not averaging 18 points.
Well, he was at the time when he left. Okay, listen. Like I said, let's not play with numbers. The bottom line, they're rebuilding. This is not a real bad deal. Maybe it's a little bit over the top, but listen, they're going to move some guys. We got to wait and see what happens. People relax. You're acting like this is the end of the world.
I don't like the deal, Scott. You like the deal. You think he's better than average. I would have been perfectly happy going to battle. I would have been perfectly happy, Scott, going to battle. I would have been perfect. Is there a chance that I can actually say something on the show? I would have been perfectly happy going to battle with an also very average two-guard of Courtney Lee.
Oh yeah, you like Courtney Lee? Okay.
No, I think he's a similar player.
Okay, right, exactly. Yeah, so what? Okay, now you're going to tell me, okay, well, did that be the case? Then so be it. I mean, maybe he'll be moved. But the bottom line, we're starting over, guys. Relax. We got to rebuild. We're
starting over, Scott. I got to run. We're starting over. And the beginning of our starting over is to overpay for a mediocre guard. Why won't Atlanta match it then if this is such a phenomenal, wonderful, exciting, brilliant acquisition from these New York Knicks? Have a great weekend. Rothenberg, out. Stephen A., back in a couple weeks, ESPN Radio.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM Channel 80 and the ESPN app.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.